Welcome to the first episode in a long series where we're going to take looks at smaller video game titles. Um, and we're going to basically just dissect them, what makes them good, why are they not necessarily popular, or why did they explode in popularity. And yeah, we're just going to take like a deep dive into stuff. So, today, our first video game that we are ever going to look at, the first one that's ever being talked about ever, is End of Days Survivor. So, this game, I, I kind of grew up with it. I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely got some bias here, but this game almost like rivaled Call of Duty Zombies in a way. When I was much younger, obviously. Um, but even still to this day, the gunplay is just very uh I don't know, it's just very addictive, very nice. It just plays smooth. Now I mean, back in the day and still kind of now, at least for like the older Call of Duty titles, um it's definitely, almost on par. I mean, the only parts that I could say are kind of a little bit iffy is the fact that you can obviously run backwards. And I mean, also for some of the weapons, um, that doesn't work so well. Like the running animation being kind of messed up. For instance, you have like the noob tube rounds that come up from time to time, and if you're running and trying to shoot a noob tube, it is just gonna shoot straight at the ground and kill you. So that is an unfortunate mishap that was a slight oversight in development. Can't lie. Um, but as far as, the actual game itself goes, let's kind of dive in a little bit into what makes this game itself. So it's sort of borrowing ideas from both Left 4 Dead and Call of Duty Zombies. Um, Call of Duty mainly, it's just borrowing like gunplay style. Um, Now, also like the wall buys technically. Now, as far as Left 4 Dead goes, it's sort of copying a few things. So obviously the HUD system, as you can see, is very inspired. Um, Apart from that, you can kind of say that the zombies are a little bit inspired. Now, there's really no variation as far as the zombies go. You have two different types. There's skinny, and then there's fat. They don't really do anything different. And then there's no types of special infected or anything like that. Um, which is a little bit of a bummer, but obviously we're working with an indie game that was $1. Like 13 years ago at this, or no, it's been about 11 or 12 years ago at this point. Um, so, purely we're just kind of looking at like rough value here. I mean, you get a really nice sort of gunplay with this game. There's a decent amount of content. I mean, you've got, I think, 10, 12 guns. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's a nice little map. The map itself is about the size of what your average Call of Duty map would be. And, I kind of call it the world of End of Days, because they use it in both of the games, this game and its multiplayer sequel. Um, and they do evolve it in some ways, but it for the most part just stays the same map, which is great. I mean, there's really nothing to complain about. It's got a lot of variety to it, a nice big underground area, several buildings that you can go into, some that even, have like an upstairs area, um, among other things. But as far as the actual game itself goes, so the goal is to survive until the helicopter rescue. I believe that comes at 20 rounds. Don't quote me on that though, because I didn't make it to 20 rounds in this game. I'm just assuming that that's probably where it was. In the first 10 rounds, it's fairly simple, fairly easy. You're just earning score, trying to get yourself closer and closer to the weapons that you get along the scoreboard. Um, and once you hit round 10, that's when difficulty starts to slowly but surely ramp up. And ultimately, you get to round 15, where it's just packed full of difficulty. I mean, it gets brutally hard, really. The zombies start going really fast. It almost seems like they're teleporting if you turn around and, aren't paying attention to them for even 5-10 seconds. And of course, you start to pack in a lot more zombies as these rounds go on. They um, are faster, so they're just going to always be able to catch up to you. So you kind of keep a huge pack. Also mentioning packs, one thing that this game borrows heavily from zombies, not really, I don't think as far as like, I don't think it was necessarily a clear development decision, but training zombies is definitely a big meta to this game. You will find yourself gathering up hordes of, tens up to, even like 100 zombies in your pack at one time. Um, and the, big key to that is, whereas a lot of these zombies games will reward you as you get higher and higher with weapons that do a lot more damage and, shoot sort of like a slow to sort of mid sort of speed. This game does it a little bit differently. So the weapons pretty much only seem to get faster shooting as time goes, or as you go up on the scoreboard. And the main thing is getting those weapons because they're going to deal less damage typically to zombies. And that allows you to keep getting points. See, like each shot to a zombie is worth 5 points. And that's pretty much, the best way you can get score. I think knifing also distributes 5 points. Grenade kills distribute 2 points. I don't think headshots do any more, point percentage. There's no real like multiplier to that. So your best bet is getting kills with shooting zombies. So that's pretty much all you can do. You want to, get a higher weapon that is going to have a very nice, spray pattern, not much recoil, have a decent sized mag. Obviously, the best one for that's going to end up being the LMG at the end of the game. But something like the AK-74U, which you get pretty early game, is also really decent for this. But it does kind of pack some damage. As for the world, going back to that, there are several, little Easter eggs, which were very commonplace in these Xbox 360 indie games. And with End of Days, what they like to do is put a lot of billboards and signage that point to other releases by the company that develops End of Days, which was Sick Creations. And boy, were these guys an absolute titan during the Xbox 360 indie marketplace's reign. I mean, I alone, and I don't think I even covered half of their games. I can at least count a handful of Sick Creations games that I played during my years on the Xbox 360. And, you can see certain billboards around the map. They had KGB Episode 1. There was sort of like a Wild West sort of game. I think it was called Nuclear Wasteland. I don't think they really displayed any of their other games yet because End of Days was kind of one of their newer titles. Or their first titles, I'm sorry. But they, went on to make stuff like Apoc Z, End of Days Infected versus Mercs, obviously. They did Aliens versus, I believe it was like gladiators. It was a very weird game. It was, literal aliens versus um, ancient Greece uh people. So it was fun. I never actually owned that full game, but I played the demo a lot before it came out. But yeah, these guys were amazing. And it's almost to the point where I might have to do an entire retrospective on just them as a company. But we will certainly be covering a lot more of their games as time goes on. But yeah, essentially, you're going to go through a lot of weapons as you progress in this game. There's an AK-74U, which you're going to get right off the rip. There's a Desert Eagle, which comes a little ways down the line. You've got a shotgun, a Scar H. You have a sort of ACR, like Kilo sort of style assault rifle. You have, obviously, your classic M4A1. And then you have the LMG. So all of these weapons are very useful in their own right. Some of them a little bit less than others, however. The M4A1, the Kilo, the Scar H in particular, you'll find yourself running out of ammo pretty fast on these. And obviously, there's limited ammo packs around the map. They do replenish and respawn, but you can only really do so much with that. So you kind of have to pick what your poison is going to be for that round. The M4A1, I'll say out of those three, is the best one because it does rack up a good bit of points as you shoot it. But me personally, I'd like to say that my favorite weapon has got to be the LMG. The LMG just, it gets the points. It can hold the ammo. You can hold up to, I think, 330 rounds in it at any given time. That's not in a single magazine. That's just all together for your weapon. But it is an absolute beast, and I would be lying if I told you to use anything different. As for your secondary, you definitely want to use the Desert Eagle. It is a beautiful weapon, and it's pretty much one-shot kill to the end of the game. But as for the rest of the game, though, there's really not much else to talk about other than it did have a sequel that was a multiplayer-only sort of game, and we're going to cover that in its own, full episode at some point just to, give it its roses and everything. But this has been End of Days Survivor. You really can't go and acquire this game anymore because the indie marketplace unfortunately shut down on the Xbox 360, leaving me with just my small collection, but plentiful enough to make some of this series. And I mean, if Microsoft just wanted to go ahead and bring back the indie marketplace, I would love to spend however much it would take to just buy all of the games. Because these are some of my favorite games, honestly. And as we go through this series, you will see just how deep the rabbit hole really goes of Xbox 360 indie games. But I appreciate all of you for coming and watching this little short retrospective overview type video of End of Days. And if you're excited for more small game spotlights to come out, build up a little hype in the comments section in the chat. We are still doing our Dark Souls marathon series. It's been going on for, I think, 2 months at this point. So if you're interested in seeing that, we're on Bloodborne. We've got one more game in Demon Souls after Bloodborne. So I would say that there's still another month or so of content left. If you're interested, definitely come check out. We have a lot of fun doing that, streaming right here on YouTube. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your day. There should be a new Scare Talk coming out, hopefully within the next couple weeks at least, but I'm hoping to be out within the next week for it. Thank you for waiting patiently for my terrible upload schedule. Everybody, please have a good day. Goodbye.